for you?
Sorry, I didn't realize I had to re-enable my audio there.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, the weather's not too bad. It's a little chilly, but it's not raining. So I think we've just got to be grateful for that.
And
How's the weather with
us,
you?
it's raining, and we're grateful for it.
It's the opposite.
Yeah. So, welcome, Grace, and thank you for accepting my invitation. I'll be publishing this on some social media afterwards on LinkedIn and Instagram, YouTube. Yeah. Mainly, I wanted to ask about your background and your motivations. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Omar. I am a technical lead AI engineer at IBM Morocco. I'm also a researcher in drug design by using artificial intelligence, or how they like to call it, computational drug discovery. I've published two papers thus far, but working on some more. Grace, you've had a lot of accomplishments, a lot of prizes and whatnot. But I'll let you introduce yourself, so you can get everything right.
Sure. Thanks. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invitation. Hi, my name is Grace Jansen, and I am a Java champion and a developer advocate at IBM. I work in the Java space mostly, looking at sort of cloud native application development, Java, all the way from sort of the Java runtime through to our application runtimes like WebSphere and Liberty, all the way up to sort of cloud native architecture. So it really is a variety of different things I look at, and a very varied role with the stuff I get to do. And I've been doing that for the last, goodness, 7 years now. Doesn't feel like that long. Looking at various different elements of software lifecycle. And before that, I did a biology degree. So it's my
Yeah.
weird and wonderful route into technology.
And why did you transition from biology to IC?
Yeah,
Uh,
doesn't seem like an immediately obvious journey. That's for sure. So,
yeah.
I really loved biology. I love the natural world, and I think it's fascinating as a discipline to study. And I really enjoyed studying at university, but I quickly found that actually I enjoyed the sort of problem solving and logic of programming. So at university, I ended up doing a couple of projects where I was modeling biological simulations or systems with Python and R. And we had one module where it was compulsory to do, and the rest of my class absolutely hated it. I was like, what do you mean? This is great fun. And I kind of quickly dawned on me that actually it was the programming I was enjoying more than the biology. So yeah, so I ended up transitioning and doing it in my free time, getting internships, work experience, and yeah, transitioning into the world of technology.
I have a not similar, but quite the opposite story. So I majored in computer science for my bachelor, for my master's, and
Mm.
even did my PhD, my first PhD years in artificial intelligence. But when COVID hit us, I decided to to apply artificial intelligence into pharmacology, and
Oh,
to try
cool.
to find um, quote unquote a cure, but what I did was a protein ligand simulation,
Hmm.
and I found the biology word and biochemistry word very fascinating. So I didn't transition yet to it yet, but
You're on your way.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So, Grace, can you tell us some of your challenges, or what are the tasks that you do, I mean, day to day?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, of course. So I think challenges that I faced, one of the biggest challenges was just getting skilled up. I came in as a biology graduate, having done programming sort of in my free time, unstructured. So very much a learn by doing, learn hands-on. Didn't necessarily have the theoretical grounding that most computer science majors have. So it was definitely a huge skilling up that I had to do, not just in terms of, learning like new languages. So for example, like I came in straight to the Java team, and the first week I joined, I was like, so what's Java? And they're like, oh, okay, very much a beginner here. And the language is literally older than I am. So I was sat there thinking, how on earth am I going to be able to learn all of this? So that was definitely a challenge. But I think by being able to get comfortable with that imposter syndrome that I think we all feel in this industry was kind of the first step of everyone feels it in some way, shape, or form. And it's about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think that's a really important skill to learn, and it's something that can help everyone in every career they do. Because once you get uncomfortable, that's when you start challenging yourself and learning new skills and developing yourself, and that's how you grow. So I think that was the first step. The second step was being comfortable with not knowing everything and understanding that you don't need to know everything. You just need to chunk it up, so make it into bite-sized pieces and learn what you need to learn for that specific task. And then you can expand outside of that once you've learned that particular piece. And to know that there's lots of other people out there that you can turn to and ask questions and ask for help from, who know the pieces that you might not know. So using your network, chunking it up into bite-sized pieces and focusing on that smaller piece rather than getting lost in the huge amount of knowledge out there that you might not know, and being okay with being uncomfortable. So those three things really helped me in terms of being comfortable with coming into this world of technology and being able to sort of hit the ground running. In
yeah.
terms of what I do, as I said, it's a really varied job, and not many people know much about dev advocacy. It's kind of one of those careers where even my family are like, we don't really know what you do. So it's definitely, it kind of differs depending on, each organization has a different sort of set of criteria for it and a different purpose for it. But here at IBM, really it's about being that bridge between developers within IBM and the development teams who help build our products and contribute to open source, and developers outside of our organization. Being able to help developers outside of our organization with those products or open source technologies, and providing feedback to our development teams from that development community outside.
When you say it like that, is it like staff augmentation, or basically selling software and licenses?
What was the first one? Sorry.
Is it like a staff augmentation, or selling software and licenses?
It's more around like the actual pure development. So I guess
Okay.
sort of augmenting what developers are doing on a day to day, because I'm essentially another feedback mechanism for them to be able to get that
Oh,
feedback from the
I
outside world, which is really useful. But also creating resources to help the outside world with our products. So that might be a blog, it might be an article, it might be a video tutorial. I create demo applications, so there's some coding in there as well, and present at international conferences. So My role day to day is completely different from one day to the next, which I love. I love that variety and having those different skills. But it's definitely not for everyone, I would say. But it's a fantastic role to have.
I do have a question. So, if you um, theoretically, if you meet your 15-year-old self, what would you say to her?
That's a good question. I would tell her not to stress. I remember when I was 15, I was like, I need my whole life figured out. I need to know what I want to be when I grow up and what role I'm going to do and what company and what job. And really the job I do now literally didn't exist when I was 15. And there's
Yeah,
so many jobs out there that are, especially in AI, as you probably
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah. Like the
A lot
industry is
of
changing so much.
yeah. A lot of people are worried because AI might overtake some jobs, but I think it also creates a lot of other
Opportunity.
jobs. Yeah,
Mm,
and there is always we're not yet. I mean, we can delegate everything to a machine. We need a human supervision.
mm.
So yeah,
I think it's very much at the point at the moment where it's a fantastic tool and a fantastic resource to help us as humans be more productive and enable innovation. But I think, as you say, like it's not at that stage yet where we can just pass off a whole job to it and expect it to do as well as a human would. It's just not there, and I don't see it being there for quite a while. Not just from a technology standpoint, but also from a trust standpoint, because it's very different when you don't have that human supervision to give full authority to a machine in that way.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I got a question from Instagram.
Mm,
It says, how do you see AI evolving the healthcare industry? And first of all, what are the industries that you work with? Are you kind of transverse between a lot of industries, or do you have a particular industry that you work with?
So I'm kind of transverse because it really like it mostly for my role centers around a specific, in this case, language, but essentially
Mm.
set of products. So I work with a lot of different companies from a lot of different industries. One that often comes up time and time again, just because of the portfolio area I'm in, is banking, because a lot of the banks are the ones who are utilizing Java, enterprise Java, and our products like Liberty and WebSphere. So a lot of the time I work with large banks, large insurance companies, um, even government entities from time to time. So yeah, it's varied, but I wouldn't say I have a specialism.
Okay, nice, nice. I do have a a sorry. I do have a very important question that I wanted to ask you. So, and this is kind of also the goal for this call. As you might already know, in the world and also in Morocco, a lot of girls and women, they when they review their options, either professionally or academically, they get that sense of pending doom if they choose anything in STEM fields related. So they end up choosing. I'm not saying it's wrong, But they might we might lose some potentially great scientists or mathematicians, but instead they choose some other careers because mostly there's still this inner thought in our society that STEM fields are generally for men. What would you say to a girl that's to encourage her or to motivate her to choose a career in STEM?
I think it's a case of highlighting the fact that, if it, I think we should focus when kids are younger, we should focus on, what excites you, what makes you happy, what do you like doing, but focus on characteristics and sort of general skills or behaviors. So, for example, when I was younger, I loved problem solving, logic. All of these things suit well to someone going into a STEM career. And if we, open their eyes to role models, that's really important. People need to be able to see themselves in roles, in fields and careers. So being able to showcase more women in, well, specifically in this case, technology, but also in STEM as a wider whole is really important. But also showcasing to them not only are there successful women doing really well in this field and they're like you, but also showing actually there's a whole load of roles out there in STEM and technology that they might not even know about is in technology, like my role. Not everyone is a coder sitting in a dark room with a hoodie on coding all day. That's not every role in tech. There's a lot of other roles that are needed in tech industries that might suit them and might be better suited to them than that specific role. So it might be project management, it might be product engineering or strategy, or it might be people management, or it might be marketing. There's so many roles out there, consulting, sales, that support the tech industry that are viable careers.
I'm sorry, I lost you, Grace. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, now I can hear
Okay, can you hear me now?
you. Yes, I
Perfect.
can hear
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
you. It's okay.
Yeah, so doing a
Yeah.
combination of providing role models, providing education, and providing opportunity to be able to come and experience it themselves, whether that's work experience or shadowing or showing them, conferences or videos online, and showing them that there is viable career paths and that it might suit the key things that they enjoy in life. Like for me, problem solving and logic.
That's nice. That's nice. That's very nice. And now, at this point of your career, in when you think back, I mean, in retrospect, what was the most awarding project that you worked on? I mean, awarding not really in a sense of like making a big revenue, or it's, I mean, a personal reward that you felt.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the opportunity to work on a load of different projects, and they've sort of had an impact on me in different ways. One of the ones, it was quite early on in my career and it had a big impact on me, was it was actually a volunteering project. And we were volunteering with this mum, this single mum, and she had a kid who was about 3 who was paralyzed from the waist down, like really, really tough. But he was the happiest little boy I have ever met. And it was this like this moment where suddenly I understood the impact that technology can have and the impact that I could have by providing people with technology. Being able to help this mum with her day-to-day life for her kid, give her kid the best experience he could have, the best life he could have. It was just she was so grateful for just such a small piece of technology. And it made me realize that actually, the limit of your impact when you're able to code, or when you understand technology, or when you're able to provide your services like that to volunteer, is just endless. There's so many good things you could help with. And I think it was at that moment that I was like, wow, this is like, I'm so grateful I've been able to contribute in this way, and to help them. And I wonder what I could do for other people with my skills. So yeah, I think there's so many opportunities out there to help people. If you're into coding, or you want to learn to code and then do it through volunteering, because there's so many projects you could help with.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds very cool. Um, okay, and another question that I get asked a lot, and to be honest, I don't have any any good answer to it yet, because
No pressure on
uh,
me then.
yes. How do you balance your work life and personal life? Because me, sometimes I end up working till 11 p.m. And I mean, it gets messy a lot. Um, are there any structures that you're doing that can help you balance your work life and personal life?
I think a key part is knowing where your personal boundaries are. Everyone's boundaries are different. Everyone has different personal situations. Some people have kids, or some people care for elderly people. Some people have other responsibilities they need to be taken care of. Some people just really, really, really enjoy their work and want to do more than just their contracted hours. And that's fine too. There's a whole spectrum of people. But it's about knowing where you sit, and having a conversation with yourself, with your loved ones. Where do you sit on that? And understanding what boundaries you need to put in place to be able to stay at that level where you feel comfortable. So I think the nice thing about working in tech is we're a very, I would say, inclusive industry, because you can really sort of, we're very flexible with, if you need to work slightly later that day or slightly earlier, that's understandable. But equally, we
Mhm.
expect a bit more flexibility back. So a lot of the time, you might need to work with a colleague in another time zone, who, you might have to have a meeting slightly outside your contracted hours. So there's a bit of give and take there, but it's about setting your personal limits and saying, look, I'm okay to have the odd occasional call at like 6, 7 p.m. or whatever. But if it's a regular thing, this can't keep happening at this time. If that's important for you to be off in that evening, and that's not part of your contracted hours. I know executives, for example, who have booked into their calendar their lunch meetings, just so they can have an hour for lunch and have that reset. So, even at the executive level, people
That
are
is a
booking that time
fantastic
in.
idea.
Yeah. And it really helps, especially because, people in other time zones might not know when your lunch break is, because
Yeah,
12 p.m. to you might be 10 a.m. to them. And
yeah.
it's difficult to know when they're booking in meetings. So if you set that time for yourself, set that time in your calendar, no one most likely will book over it unless they ask, hopefully. And it gives you that time for yourself to be able to reset and do what you need to do in that lunch break. So set your boundaries, be clear with communication with those that you work with as to what you expect in terms of that balance. And just keep that communication transparent, because the more you communicate, the less of these events where, suddenly something pops up that you weren't expecting come up, is what I'd say.
Okay, okay. So this question, I don't know if you have if you can actually answer it, or it's out of your I mean you're not permitted to talk about this, but recently you've been invited by the IBM CEO Arvind Krishna to present to the board of directors. Um, can you share some insights with us about how that went and what was the main topic?
Yeah, sure. So I was involved in a very small part of their visit, but it was incredible to be able to present to them and to meet them. They were visiting the Hursley site. So Hursley is our sort of headquarters for development and research in the UK. And they were visiting, and I had the opportunity to present on the history of our innovation within IBM Hursley and sort of how we were enabling the future generation to continue that innovative spirit. So I was co-presenting with a colleague who he was actually my mentor when I joined. So it was really nice to be able to present sort of this our story, but also the story of how we're enabling the next generation, so the graduates, the interns, the apprentices, to be able to continue the innovation and the history of innovative ideas and products that we've been creating within software development at IBM. So it was fantastic to be able to give them a bit of history on that and to sort of give them an idea of where we've come and then where we're going and how Hursley and the software development site in the UK has helped to impact upon that.
Okay, that is very interesting indeed. Well, I think our time is up. I can't thank you enough, Grace, for sharing your inspiring journey and your valuable insights. Really, your experience serves as a beacon for all of us here at IBM, and I hope to everyone also outside of IBM, everyone in the tech industry. Again, thank you, and uh, I can't thank you enough for your time.
No,
Uh,
absolutely. It's been a pleasure joining
yeah,
you today, and I really appreciate the invitation. Thank you so much.
thank you, Grace. See ya.
Cool. See you later.
See ya. Thanks.